everybody. Welcome back into the black. Guys, I am so excited. I can't even with this one. We are joined by the none other than the GOAT of Delaware's real estate and mortgage scene, Miss Alisha Cooper Wells. She's not just a financial wizard, she's also a multitasking mom and mentor who can teach you how to turn property deals into gold while probably baking the best cupcakes for the school fundraiser. With over 25 years turning the real estate market into her playground, Alisha isn't just playing Monopoly, she's winning it. Let's welcome Alisha Cooper into the black.
Thank you so much.
Feel free to
gonna
adjust
hold
it. Yes.
I'm going to hold it.
We'll hold the mic.
So thank you so much, Heather, for having me
Oh
on.
my gosh,
and
this
I
is so
hope
great.
you guys love what you see today.
Yes. Oh, I just am so glad you're here. And like, literally, you are truly a GOAT in this state. I am so inspired by you, literally every freaking day. And I just like want to strive to be like you. So I give you your flowers, my dear.
Hey,
because
we're doing this thing together.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. Us women business owners here in this
Yes.
little state of Delaware. So speaking of being the GOAT, Miss, if you had to pick a different animal for the GOAT in your brand, what would it be?
An owl.
An owl. Why is that?
Yeah, I think an owl represents wisdom, teaching, and you never see the images of an owl's feathers ruffled, but we know they get ruffled feathers, right? But when you always see them, they exude this level of authority, and I have it together, so I would be an owl.
I love that answer. Owls are so just full of wisdom, and they are so wise, and they are so beautiful too. Because yes, you are beautiful. I love you so much.
And it worked, the dark, the night, you're out there. Because I am a night owl as well. Yes.
Are you really? What's the latest you usually like stay up till?
The latest I'll probably do is maybe 3 a.m. My work day often doesn't start till 11. I do a lot on the West Coast. And I have a very supportive husband that takes the kids to school, except for on Thursday, which is Wells Day.
Oh, okay. Is that your designated day to take them to school?
Designated day for me to wake up and take them to school.
I love the fact that we both have supportive husbands that will do the work as well as because share that work. You know what I mean? Because, I see a lot of women business owners struggling to have their husbands or partners help them with the kids while they're also trying to, juggle business. Has that been do you think it's like a complete game changer to have that support?
Oh, definitely. So my story, hi, I'm Alisha Cooper Wells, and I'll jump right in to say that I started this journey as a single mom. So I truly appreciate having the support of my husband. I have had a support system. My mom and dad aren't far, and I have siblings that help. But it's still when you have to think about another person and having to leave your work day early because no one else can pick the kid up. Or even, I'm going to get real with you, do some things that strange for some change, like having to do things that others may think are not okay. My 5-year-old son has had to let himself in for 30 minutes, and I'm like, I'm coming. Don't touch anything. Don't let anybody through the door. Your Easy Mac is in the microwave. It's already set, so you don't have to think about it. Hit it, and by the time you finish your Easy Mac and your TV show, I will be home.
Yeah. That reminds me a little bit of my childhood as well, because, my mom was also a business owner. So, having to, juggle being a mom and a business owner while trying to make it work is just, and you're doing it flawlessly, let me just say.
Thank you.
Her daughter, I'm watching your daughter, and I have a question about her in here, but I've been watching her really grow as a young business owner, and I'm just how do you, when you see that, do you just want to break into tears and just be like, I'm so proud?
I do. So Madison Wells is the one that gives me a run for my money. Okay. She is my disruptor, and I, being a fellow disruptor, can stand on the promises of God and trust the process that it is going to work out. But I am so thankful when God gives me those moments to see who she's becoming, that the seed is being planted and more is caught than taught. So I'll use the example recently. So I am not a real estate agent. I am a mortgage lender. I provide all financing needs, whether you need it for your business, for your home. But I do own a lot of property and, have to show properties from time to time, whether we're selling them or even if we're leasing them to somebody else to be a tenant. And she did a showing for her great aunt, my aunt, and she showed the people who showed up for the open house, the property. I never even went down to the second floor. She showed the property, and I got to hear that sneak peek, that glimmer of hope, right? To hold on to. I'm standing on the terrace, and she's like, "So now that I've shown you this, could you see yourself living here?" And I'm like, okay, it's in there. It's in there. But we struggle. We struggle with academics. She loves going to school. We don't have behavioral issues. But she does not fit the mold of what some would say it should be for someone in her age.
Yeah, sounds like she broke the mold, actually. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because she, like you said, she's a disruptor. She's your disruptor. That's how I feel about my kid. She is a total disruptor. She will literally, if she, I think you've seen that TikTok trend where, you tell the kid, you're like, oh, somebody was yelling at me in my face. What would you do? And I asked my daughter that. She was like, I would tell them to leave you alone. And I'll be like, Mom, call the cops. Yep.
I love it.
Go get it, girl.
And like, she's watching you.
She is.
So
yes.
we need those glimmers. Yes. We need those glimmers to hold on to, because there are always individuals, the superpowers that be, the universe of people. And I don't mean on a spiritual level. I just mean individuals in the world that will ridicule you, and also not trying to project my personal things. So I was afraid of middle school for her, because middle school was a very tough time for me. I was awkward, still am, right? And did not fit into the standard norm. I was bullied. I was buying a little girl ice cream to like keep her off my back. And I'm watching her now. She does have the feistiness. She's not getting bullied. No. But she does have to deal with becoming who she is, and it's just not the standard.
Yeah. And I was also bullied, and it's like kind of crazy to see how like very different school is right now. They're more have more empathy. They even have the emotional, as a second language. So it's kind of it's kind of crazy to watch and see the differences. So I'm gonna stir up some shit right quick. Okay. What's your favorite Delaware restaurant and why?
Wow. Yes, that was gonna stir up some things. So okay. I'm gonna break that down. Okay. So my favorite coffee house right now is Milk and Honey.
Yes.
Shout out to them. Milk and Honey at Loma on Market Street.
Yes.
When it comes to restaurant, I don't know if it's my favorite per se, but I am gonna say I frequent it a lot, and this is a kudos to you too, Letty's.
Oh, hey. Yes.
So I love Letty's fried chicken. That is at least once a week on, nice. If not more than once. Either I'm going to get chicken, or maybe I'm going to grab sides to add to what I'm already doing.
Yeah.
And then I got to shout out my favorite food truck, which is Flavored-ish, Dominic Spitz. Yes. And that's what I'll leave it there. Yeah. But I do want to say both of us are from Delaware.
Yes.
Well, I was born somewhere else, but I went to high school here. And Delaware did not have like all these choices before, and we're still a very small state in retrospect to other places. But I could probably name a bunch of places just because like my friend's mom owns it, like things like that. So shout out to all of you guys.
That's right. Delaware's small as hell, dude. I can't even. Well, Letty, shout out. And actually, we're having that fried chicken eating contest on July 4th.
Okay.
Get your man. I think last year you wanted to get your husband in there.
I did. And then my son said he wanted to do it, so I'll make sure we'll enter it.
Okay, so the other day, Representative Mike Smith on his stories was like legit counting down to like him being in the contest. It's a thing. Wow. Apparently now.
Eating chicken wings at Letty's and is a thing.
Watching the fireworks, doing the dunk tank. It's a whole jam. So come out on July 4th. So you do a lot of investment properties. You do a lot of mortgages and stuff like that. But can you share a horror story of your early days in real estate and mortgages that would make you laugh right now? That like you think back and you're like, holy shit. Like it was crappy back then, but now it's just hilarious.
Okay. So when it comes to being a landlord, that was tough early on, even with having others who did it before me and having a coach. I'm big on having a coach, having a mentor. But when my owl feathers were ruffled, I first was a landlord, and my tenant, I went to court and I won possession. Excuse me. I won the money, but I lost possession. So for those of you who don't know what that means, is as the landlord, I went to court. I said, hey, they owe me money. The judge said, you're right. They do owe you money. However, you gave them the wrong notice for owner to resume immediate ownership, and you have to give them another couple days, or it might have been like 30 or 45 days to leave. And I haven't been getting paid, so I still have to pay the water bill there, still have to pay my mortgage on that property. And I remember while all of this was happening, and I'm out of the statute, so I could talk about this now. I go by and I see like they have brand new bikes and a flat screen TV, and I'm like, listen here, give me those bikes, give me those TVs,
mine,
or give me that TV, and you can have it back as soon as you pay me my money. And that was like a crazy story. And yeah, I had that TV for a long time.
So you lost possession of the property itself, or just those possessions?
No, I lost to get immediate possession.
Okay.
Meaning I get to keep the property, but they needed to be so much notice before they could be actually evicted.
That's crazy, man. To be a landlord.
But I love it now.
You do?
I love it now.
See, I've thought about doing it because, like, I see properties and I'm just like, I could flip that shit. I could do that.
Flip it is different.
I could like flip it, but then like because I don't want people to be living in like a rundown place. I would want to like make it look nice, then run it out, and then maybe sell it. And then it's just like, but then I'm like, that's so much work.
So everything is work.
Everything is work.
Everything is work. And I do believe you put in more work in real estate because you're also going to reap a higher reward.
Yes.
Right. I would have never been able to financially be where I'm at today. I don't think so quickly. And I say quickly, and this is a 20-year journey.
Right. Yep.
But still quickly in comparison to when I hear the stories of other industries, how long it has taken them to meet this economic status or a net worth. And real estate gives you that jump.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of work.
Yes, it is a lot of work. Since we're on real estate, give me a hot take. Hot take on real estate. Anything?
I think it's always a good time to buy real estate if the numbers work. So I'm a nerd. And
that's why we buy.
Yeah. And as a nerd, I do get to make my decision based on the numbers versus emotion. And I don't often get emotionally connected to a property. So I can see a house, but unfortunately, I don't see all of the prettiness until I've done the numbers.
You see the data, then you want to see
exactly that in the black, right?
Yes.
I want to know
you
that.
want to see it between the
lines. So I need to see that part in order for me to move forward.
Yeah, that's real. And I think about when you just said that you don't get emotional over the property. That's actually a really good lesson for everybody is, even if it's property, real estate, services, a client, whatever that is, don't get emotional about it. It's just business. It's just numbers and it's just data. You can add a little bit of, authenticity in there and your own vibes, but it really does break down to the data and the numbers essentially.
If that's you, right? Not everybody is run on the data.
They should.
But I'm going to say for me, that's what's what.
Yeah. Because I look at it as like data is truth. And there's truth in that data because you can't skew those numbers. You know what I mean?
And it's scalable.
Right.
So
emotions aren't.
And that's the part. So there's always outliers, right? There's somebody who could be like, oh, I am the outlier to this. But if I want to have something that is scalable, meaning whether I'm working it or someone else is working it, we have to go with the data set that allows us to constantly reproduce the same product over and over again, what a quality tenant is, what a quality client is. And from time to time, we do have the outliers out there. But my goal is often to see what we can do, or is there a new data set?
Yes.
Right. That says, okay, for these outliers, this is what works.
Yeah, that's getting real granular there. That's going really meta deep into that. But we love being a bunch of nerds. This is actually not on my card, but I want to talk about 2 pieces of jewelry that you got on you. Number 1, your necklace. Let's talk about the key, a little bit of history, and a little bit of info about that because I love that. You wear it all the time, and it's just a vibe.
So this key is actually my grandmother's house key. So I walk with this charge to make sure that I help people reach their financial goals. And having my grandmother's house key on me is just a constant reminder that there's somebody watching over me. There's someone that I have a responsibility to, and having that bigger why. And I also believe key stands for knowledge empowers you. So being able to get the knowledge, and then that word empower is a action word.
Yes.
So you have to use it. You have to do something with it.
I love that. That is, and I feel like you and I both have like a special place in our hearts for our grandmas because they were just so inspirational and powerful and let us. I mean, I know my grandmother told me to just go for whatever. She always uplifted me and empowered me to do what. So I love that you carry a piece of her with you all the time.
And she was big. Full transparency, my grandmother was in real estate. What didn't really like it. She also jumped into entrepreneurship, and she didn't succeed at it.
Wow.
She owned a card shop, and she had it for a couple years, and then eventually had to let it go. And that really bothered her, right? That it didn't work. But she also still instilled in me that she didn't fail.
Right. Yes.
And that's a cool concept to be introduced to as a kid, right? That she didn't fail because she tried. And she got to at least see what happened if she did it, opposed to living with the regret if she didn't.
Yeah, I love that. One of my favorite rappers, Queen Irby, she says there's no failure, only lessons, because you learn something. Even if you think you fail, you're not really failing because you're learning something.
Exactly.
It's cool. Save your water over there if you want some.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's in a black mug, and then the other piece of jewelry. I mean, we can't ignore the ginormous rock on her hand that literally will make her sink to the bottom of a pool. Tell us about that beautifulness. Yes. Good job, husband.
Yes, good job, husband. For our 10-year anniversary, 10 years, 10 carats. We will be married 12 years in July 1st. So I say I won my championship.
Oh my gosh. And he's amazing, by the way. Just does he have his own IG account?
He doesn't.
Oh, he doesn't.
So
Okay.
I am the social butterfly
Yes, she
of this
is.
relationship, and I keep him close.
Yeah, that's right. Don't touch my man. So can you give me an example of a time of being a financial goat? Felt more like being a financial scapegoat.
Well, yeah. I mean, big brothers out there, right? So they're the invisible hand.
Yes.
I got another nerd reference. I have had particularly early on in my career, because now I can identify it.
Right.
Where you have had a client get all the way, you feel like, to the finish line, and then you can't deliver. They may not be able to close because guidelines change.
Yeah.
So that's something as a mortgage lender we have to deal with, guidelines and government. So the guidelines today can be great and you get pre-approved, and then the guidelines, if a loan isn't closed by a certain date, change. Oh, right. Now that doesn't happen as much nowadays, but when I first started, that could happen, and potentially a client could have, and that has happened, had and been ready to go. But my empathy, those scenarios, my empathy does kick in. Mm-hmm. So I paid for them to live in a hotel for 2 or 3 days so that we could get them across, and they wouldn't have to be home.
Oh man, yeah. Well, at least, but here's the thing though, because you lead a lot of the time with empathy in your business, and I think that's really a great characteristic to have in business, because there are so many cutthroat business owners out there who will literally leave you out to dry. So I really appreciate that about you, because I feel like that's a woman, characteristic.
I mean, there are certain things like you can separate the emotion, but it's really tough, especially if you're going to take the ownership of what you played in it, even if you are the scapegoat, because I didn't create the rules.
Right.
But I did choose this industry. So I'm in it.
Yeah, I'm in it. I'm in the trenches here. So how can women use investing as a tool to help close the gender wealth gap?
Oh,
let's talk about it, because I mean, there are probably so many things. So let's give us maybe some lower level like entry if somebody wants to start in investing, because I mean there are so many women out there who have no idea.
Right. So when you invest in real estate, you can invest in real estate through the word just escaped me, but there's more to real estate than just buying a property. You can invest in funds where you might give $1,000 or $2,000 into an investment. You'll own the doorknob, the windows,
right?
And you can have true ownership in that. And then when they go to sell the property, you get a piece of the equity.
Right.
And I didn't learn about that model till later. But closing the wealth gap, I have to say, owning at least a house, it will give you a higher net worth. And when you learn about financial statements and income statements, often we think of, if a house we bought it for $200,000 and we have a $200,000 mortgage, we don't have any equity, right? In theory, you don't. But when it comes to your finances, the insurance company still sees you more responsible as a homeowner. Your credit is still getting a higher credit score because you have a credit mix with having a mortgage. So there's benefits to your financial picture than just looking at equity.
Right.
And with lower credit card rates and with lower insurance, you're saving on a daily granular, and then hopefully that property, as you're paying it down, will also gain equity. So my own personal story, I bought my very first house off of King Street in Wilmington. Wasn't the best neighborhood, and when I went to rent it out, I think I might have only made $20 or $50 a month. So I wasn't making hundreds of dollars every month, a very small amount. But when I went to sell it about 2 or 3 years later, I got at the table $30,000. And at the time, I might have been making $35,000.
Right.
There was no way I was going to be able to save almost my entire salary in 2 years. Yeah. So that's how I think real estate can help close the wealth.
That's really interesting. Now, do you think this is just this question popped in my brain while you're talking about it. A lot of men own the houses of the marriage, right? Mm-hmm. Like they own the house, the wife is not on the mortgage. Mm-hmm. Do you feel as though that women should be like, hey, husband, I want to get on this freaking mortgage? Because would it be better for them as like you said, a financial snapshot that yes, they own part of this house? In, when you think about it, like you just said, it's like the credit unions or whomever, they look at you differently if you own a house. I technically don't own a house. Mm-hmm. I'm not on a mortgage. I'm not on a lease. I'm not on that, ownership paperwork. So would it be financially better for, let's say, myself or a woman who finds herself in that situation to be added to the property so as she gets a better financial snapshot?
So I'm going to say full disclaimer, right? I'm not giving anybody
no legal advice. This is just a conversation.
But from a conversational perspective,
I'm just curious, to be honest.
I would say if you can be added to the deed, you don't necessarily have to be added to the mortgage, right? You don't have to have the financial responsibility, but you can still check the box when they ask on every application. Gotcha. Do you own?
Oh, it's ownership, that little box. It's right? That little box.
Ownership changes, and I'm really big. I have a podcast.
Yes, I'm going to ask you about that. Don't worry.
It's on DETV, and it's called Own Yours. And it's to talk about the ownership perspective. It's not just having the mortgage, but it's having the ownership. And then as women, well, first of all, nowadays we're seeing more and more people on the mortgage together.
Yes.
The days of just one person buying getting the mortgage should be here. Full disclaimer, it should be here. However, people aren't usually satisfied with a starter home.
Right. Yeah.
So, and maybe if the house that you live in as your family, or if you're a spouse, or the one individual, whether it's the man or the woman, is able to qualify for the house you want to live in, think about, can the other spouse purchase maybe the starter home that you may decide later to use as an investment property, where both parties do have a level of ownership. But I am not a fan of tying two people's debt to income ratios on one application if it's not necessary.
Right. So deed.
Yeah. Having ownership.
Yes. Okay. I love that. So what's the most unexpected advantage of operating a business in Delaware that outsiders probably don't understand?
So, hot topic. You get to see everybody you need to know in Delaware. Last night, Carney announced that he's running for mayor. Mm-hmm. He's currently our governor. Was with the governor.
Crazy.
Okay. Was with the mayor. Was with the county executive, Newcastle County executive. I can't think of what position Chris Coons has. He, which I saw him yesterday. Yeah. Darius Brown, senator. Because Delaware, we're so small, you get to be in a room with these people. And Mike Pizicki, the current mayor, he brought it up. I was speaking for the Metropolitan League, and a young woman from Houston, he said, if you went to an event, you wouldn't be able to get the Houston mayor in the room of a small event like that. But these events can be big, and even what our big isn't like Atlanta big, right? So I think it's very powerful and then you can go into the office and you can talk. And we have 2 senators, just like Texas has 2 senators. So when it comes down to resources and advancement, we get those same resources as a very small state, right, compared to these huge states. And I was listening, and then I did a little more research. Delaware, our largest industry is agriculture. We have more chickens here than people.
Yes.
Cool fact.
We actually, on the first episode with Representative Mike Smith, I actually asked him a question about the chickens per capita people or something. And yes, there are a ton more chickens in this state. Crazy. No wonder we have the blue hen. Is that the right? Is the blue hen?
The blue hen.
Bird.
I didn't even put that together.
You learn something new every day. So we connected on Clubhouse. It's a social media app. It's audio only. It has been around for I think 5 years now. And I mean, it's gone through so many iterations. I just can't even. I think we're in like 4.0, and I'm sorry, love you Clubhouse, but you're a piece of trash now. What are your real thoughts on it?
So
I mean, my real thoughts are a piece of trash, but
so Clubhouse, when I was on, was when it first came out, and it was amazing. It helped me share my story with people across the United States that I never thought I would. And the world. And I was going to say, and then expanding into the world. I got this, almost felt like this leg up. During COVID, everyone was home. And because I am a nerd, aesthetically my story didn't always get captured on the other visual social media platforms. So it was an opportunity for people to genuinely hear myself and several others and to connect that way. And that was very powerful for me.
Yeah, that was so nice. And it's so crazy because like when, you fall into these like circles of people, when I was on Clubhouse, we met through there because we fell into a real estate room. And it's just kind of crazy how like small
we
the
met
world is.
On an app, but we're literally 20 minutes
from
each other. Like I think it took me 18 minutes.
Yeah, it's not even that far, but it's so funny how like big Delaware is, but also very small Delaware is, but then also how big the world is, but then also how small the world is, because literally we live 20 minutes from each other, but yet we've never met each other. And then it took a social media app to bring us together. And I just think that's just so crazy. But Clubhouse, get it to freaking together, man. Like you're just a piece of trash right now. I can't. I'm sorry. So you did tell us a little bit about your podcast, Own Yours, on DETV. Yeah. Tell me more, because I love that you're working with DETV. Shout out to Vincenza,
Ivan and Vincenza. Shout out to you guys. Yes. So DETV is our local public broadcasting station that wants to bring all news from a local perspective of what's happening in the entire state of Delaware. We have 3 counties, which is Newcastle County, Kent County, and Sussex County.
3 counties compared to like hundreds in other states. Oh my god!
And you can get through our whole state in I think 2.5
2 hours. Yeah.
So the platform that we have is really to push I'll use the word the agenda, right? To push the agenda of the importance to own yours, to own your real estate, to be active in the real estate development that is happening around you, to be able to know the indicators of the infrastructure and how it's going to impact you. And also to keep it light, because we have people submit deals to us where we run the numbers and then we let them know deal or no deal.
Dude, so cool.
And how, but it's twofold. Even if we say no deal, we'll still explain how that could potentially become a deal, what relationships or partnerships you might need in order to make that a deal. So it's always a deal, but do you have the resources and even know the conversation, the language to have surrounding it? And I push on there. I have a platform where we are changing the landscape of what lenders look like through Biz Fund Academy as well.
Yes, talk about a little bit about Biz Fund Academy, because just saying, it's awesome. By the way,
thank you. Biz Fund Academy is a opportunity to own your own funding company, to get access to the finances, to the money. I have found is my secret. That's my secret sauce to the opportunities that I've been able to have to build wealth, was understanding the banking, but having the relationship directly with the lenders and being the owner of the funding company. So it's all about owning yours.
Yes, and let me tell you, full transparency. So she actually had a student go through Biz Fund Academy, and then I actually worked with that student to actually help my credit, to get me some working capital through credit cards, and it has been so great because I still have that working capital. I'm still able to use it, and my credit score is like, I think, over 750 now.
All right, high five.
I'm crushing it. I'm like, and so all thanks to her. She's just amazing. And if you are looking for like another avenue to really, like, I don't know, if you're looking to change careers, like Biz Fund Academy, and she's the teacher of it, and it's accredited, right?
Yes, we are an accredited course.
I mean, I don't tout courses too much. You know, my audience knows I hate courses. I hate people who make courses because, like, they don't give me, like, I like to go to EDX and get my certs. You know what I mean? I like a good certification class. But you, for your course to be accredited and you can actually get some credits to go towards it, I think that is amazing.
Thank
and it
you.
also it kind of shows the authenticity of the class, but also like that it's actually worth it. You know, you could go to like a 6-week class and not come out with any of it, but like you come out of this class like literally ready to go.
Yeah,
and
you're
starting
ready to
a business.
go, and you're not by yourself. So even after you're done, even if you go to college and university, you're done. Right. No, we have a community that we answer questions still within hours and minutes. We do ongoing coaching, and then you have access to me as well as our other instructors as well.
Yeah, dude, Biz Fund Academy is awesome.
Thank you.
So, what is the wildest bring your child to work day story? Because I know that she is like in the biz with you. You are a total mentor to your daughter. What is the craziest?
The craziest one would have to be my son.
Yeah.
Before I had the support, right, I've had to take a sick kid to work. And
yay, single mom life.
Yes, I remember he was in the break room. He had his head down on the table. It didn't feel good, but he couldn't stay home by himself. And at the time, I opened the bank, so I still had to open up and wait till the second person or shift or whatever come in, and then I could take him home. Aww. And I remember she pulled in, and I'm like so excited to see her, and he throws up everywhere. And I'm like, no. And it probably took me an hour to clean it up. So it was like
I'm hoping you lit candles up in that bank.
Yeah, it was disgusting. That's my worst. Take your child.
Mom life, like 100, like million. Oh my gosh, I can't. Well, good for you though, cleaning it up. I mean, I would have just been like, I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, I've contemplated a couple of times, like, but the cleaners don't come until night. And I'm working. I'm opening for my colleagues. Like, I don't want that.
You don't want to do that. Yeah. Plus, you don't want to probably get fired for that shit too. You don't clean it up. So poor babes. How old is he now?
He is 19. He'll be 20 on May 10th.
So scary. So scary. They grow up so fast.
Too fast.
It goes fast, but it goes slow all at the same time. It's like you're in a time warp. Very crazy. So what is the most bizarre investment tip that you've ever heard? That like may or may not be true. Like that isn't legitimate maybe. Like why don't we go with the not legitimate? What is the craziest shit that you've ever heard that you're like, what?
File a police report and all the bad stuff will come off your credit report.
Somebody said that?
Yeah.
Wait. You file a police report?
Like your identity was stolen and then everything
falls off?
Yeah, so that was crazy. I also think it's crazy when people don't put context behind why they say don't own a home. I think that's another crazy one. There's a lot of context behind that.
Yes.
And the context, I believe what they're saying is, from a perspective of home being emotional, don't own a home, right? Don't make this emotional purchase, make a business purchase, always thinking about business when you're buying, but all people hear is don't buy a home. Or even some of the other people that talk about don't buy a home, they're speaking from a perspective or to an audience that if they buy a home, they want to put down this substantial down payment because they want the lowest payment possible, opposed to educating that you could still invest in your business and buy a home, maybe using a different product.
Yeah. The crazy, like so many people are just out here saying the craziest shit.
Especially in the financial space. I mean,
all the time. And how can they get away? Like, I just don't understand. Like, it's, and then that with the crypto and the crypto bros and the NFTs.
Oh, yeah, so I never really got into that.
No. And you're smart though,
yeah.
but I mean,
I think it's cool to learn about. I'm a big person on learning and understanding an origin story. And I think the origin is where we're at. But I don't have the bandwidth to ride the wave for that.
Yeah.
I chose my wave, and that's really
That's right. That's right. That was a good wave, right? Riding it for 20 years, girl. So random favorite purse in your closet, because I'm all about fashion. And
okay, my favorite purse is. You see, I get excited.
I know. See, I knew you would love this question.
My favorite purse is my Fendi Disco Woman collection. And it's because it displayed both melanin women and on the bags. I love that bag. Diversity. It was really important, and then attributing to that era. So I love.
Man, send me a picture because I want to be like, bing.
Yep, I definitely
will. Look how beautiful it is. Yeah. That's awesome. I love a good bag. My favorite right now is like this huge tote bag that I got from White House Black Market. It's like giant. It's huge and it has like all these like cutout details. It's lots of fun. I love it. So how do you balance? I mean, this is I think a question for all the mom business owners out there. How the hell do you balance the roles of being a mom and a mentor to your daughter in her business journey? Because I know that's probably tough as hell.
Oh, it's definitely. Well, first I'm going to say we're all amazing and we have to figure out our way of coping. And for me, I don't believe in balance because I can't give everything the same amount of energy, time, or attention. But I have picked up the practice of harmony, which is very important in harmony, having a level of emotional intelligence to see when you need to pivot and maybe give someone a little more attention. Because you can see the strong kid operating or your strong spouse operating, and you have to still have that emotional intelligence, even though they're not outwardly displaying the behavior that we often tend to reward. And I also found, like, to me, harmony is a positive word. So I want to reward positive behavior.
I absolutely love that. Like, there's no such thing as freaking balance, right? But finding your harmony within all the chaos of being a mom and a business owner and pivoting and being able, I guess, like being fluid, like water. You know, what is your sign?
I am a Gemini.
You're a Gemini. Okay. What year were you born?
1984.
Okay, so I know I'm the year of the ox.
I think it's the year of the rat, if I'm not mistaken.
I want to like do your astrology because we vibe in, and I just love it. That's so great. So what is the craziest thing you've ever found in an investment property?
I love that question. So we had purchased a crack house. And the house was totally disgusting. And I shouldn't even use the word we purchased. This house, and we buy ugly houses, we buy gross houses, was the worst. I told my husband actually not to buy this one. It was the worst. I mean, horrible. Dilapidated, anything you could think of.
Any adjective that would describe it.
Yes. I mean, the floors were missing in certain places because the water from the roof had leaked in.
Oh, man.
It was horrible. However, after we started to clean it out, and full disclaimer, I'm happy I found this years in me already doing flips.
Right.
Because if I had found this property when I first started flipping, everything would have just went in the trash, and I wouldn't have been able to find this gem that I'm going to share with you guys. So we took our time. There were certain indicators that it might be an artist that may have owned this property. There was paint, acrylic paints, oil paints on the stairs, a lot of easels. So my husband called artist he knows. Shout out to Kenneth. Art Monster, And he's like, don't you know whose house this is? And we're like, no, we don't know. And it was a world-renowned artist who used this home as his recreational space. So I told you what type of house it was.
Oh,
and what I mean recreational, there was a bondage room, very recreational.
Drop the artist's name. Drop the artist's name immediately.
And for full disclaimer, I cannot drop the artist's name, but I can't say the personal collection, the Wells family personal collection of Samuel Benson. I can say it that way.
Okay, sure.
So, we did find an art collection. During COVID, myself, flew in some artists, my daughter, we learned how to restore art. And we now have a $5 million art collection.
And you found this in a crack house?
Yes. And
with a bondage room?
Yes. Yes. And it took time again. So when we first found it, we had got some indicators. Like somebody was like, if you walk away from the property today, we'll give you for everything. Like, don't take anything out. I think it was like $200,000, and the house wasn't worth that. Right. So they knew the history behind it. So I got little signs along the way. It wasn't like I'm this huge historian,
right? But you had that gut feeling, you had that intuition. Like
I didn't. Like I said, I didn't want to buy it. My husband did. I have to give him credit for that. And then the nerd side of me is to do the research. So when we reached out to museums that were going to be willing to help us restore, the contract said that if they restored the art, then they get the collection when we die.
Oh.
So I was like, obviously there's some value there. Let's do this ourselves, right?
Yes.
Wow.
And
that is the coolest. And we even reached out. Well, I reached out to the family, and their response was they had all of the good stuff. Oh. So because of him being fine arts trained, teaching sculpting at Harvard, he was known for his landscape work and painting on canvases, and that was what they kept. And we did have to pay them something. You have to give consideration for any property transaction. So for a tip for everybody, even if you find it, you still have to go back because it's a whole ordeal. But anyway,
it's a whole thing.
When we were going back to them, their response is, we have all the good stuff.
Right.
Because again, this property was not the good stuff. This is where he would have his recreational fun. And that's what I will call it. Yeah.
That is the wildest story I think I've ever heard. And I'm going to ask you off air who that name is.
Okay.
Because I'm going to go, because I have a friend who actually lives down the street.
It. I said the Wells family personal collection of Samuel Benson.
Samuel Benson. Got it.
And the reason I have to say it that way, full transparency, he was also a musical artist. Wow. And I learned that he still owes money to the record labels, so they own the rights to his identity. That's that whole nother story.
Oh my god, that is bonkers. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, well I'm like floored by that answer. I didn't think I was gonna get that good of an answer. Okay, so we're Delaware based, right? New Jersey, Maryland, or Pennsylvania to go visit. Like why? Like and why? Like what's your fave?
You didn't include New York.
Well, because it's not touching Delaware. Okay. That's why I didn't include New York. If you want to include New York, we can include New York, and that will be your answer.
New York. I mean, if I'm gonna go,
you're gonna go
New York. But that's the cool thing of Delaware. Like we can get anywhere like so fast. But I do like Pennsylvania. So I work majority in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
My majority of my properties are in Pennsylvania. So I guess that's why I didn't count that. But if I had to say where I frequent, I'm there almost every single day.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. I didn't know that you owned a bunch of property in Pennsylvania. Yeah. Because I know like the Pennsylvania property taxes are like insane compared to Delaware. Is that a thing still? Or that's what everybody talks about.
Property
and I'm like,
and real estate is
two different
local.
Things. Yeah.
Right. And yes, the tax rate is higher. So like my house that I live in, tax rate is so low in comparison to what it would cost for a house in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. But in the inner cities, they tend to have lower tax rates, period.
Gotcha.
So all of the numbers are
yeah. Makes sense. So what is I think we already talked about one thing that could help women get started in real estate and investment properties. Is there anything else that we should touch on?
Having good credit. Having good credit. It's the elephant in the room. But having good credit, preserving your credit, protecting your credit is very important, and it's more than just making sure nobody gets your social security number. It's learning how to use your credit.
Yes. And I learned how to use my credit because of this woman right here. Dead ass serious, not even joking. And I really, really appreciate you being here to have this conversation about, just you, number one, and number two, just like the conversations about women and finances and business. And is there anything else that you want to leave with our audience? Something that they can take forward if investing or getting started in business or breaking through a glass ceiling, or what do you want to leave
first I want to encourage you that you can do it. I want you to do not think or speak yourself out of any possessions, any purpose. And I include them together because when you're led by your purpose, the possessions will come. And with your purpose, don't be afraid to walk in your authority or be happy of the possessions as well. As you see, I'm happy. My ring, my bag. Those things do make me happy because those are things I couldn't have and couldn't afford before. Yes. But what makes the little glimmer in my eye is by me standing in my purpose, seeing my children, because more is caught than taught. And I can teach them all day, but if I am not living that thing, we will see it show up. And I do believe it's made such a big difference. And mindset is huge. So it's not just speaking it, but what narrative are you telling yourself when you're thinking? And we all are conditioned for programming. So having that positive programming back to yourself, having those affirmations that you deserve it, you're worth it, and trust your process.
I love that. I just started listening to self affirmations because I was literally watching TikTok, and this woman was talking about positive self identity and negative self identity, and having a positive self identity really starts when you're younger. And I've always grown up having a negative self identity, and that's why I feel like I hustle so hard, because I'm just like, I need to prove myself to all the people because I have such negative self identity. But when you say more is caught than taught, I really think that's kind of like, I guess, like the takeaway from today, because us as women business owners, we are out there and we could teach everybody what we're doing, but it's about putting in the work and putting in that action so that other women can see us doing it, so then they too can be like, shit, I can freaking do that too. Yeah, so thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
How can people connect with you?
So you can definitely follow me on all my social media platforms as at Alisha, Alisha Cooper, Cooper, Wells, Wells. My main page is Alisha the Goat.
Because she's the goat.
.com. If you want to learn more about credit, empoweringyourfinances.org. It'll take you right to an Amazon link to get my book.
Okay. I'm getting that right now.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, before we leave, she got me. This is the only color that is ever going to be up and into the black unless my guests wear color. She got me this mug and it says trust in the process. And that is seriously something that I think everybody should take away, but also more myself, because I really do need to trust this freaking process of what the frick I'm doing. But I just love this so much, and it just makes I secretly love pink and glitter. So shh, don't tell anybody. But thank you so much for being into the black with me. I really appreciate you. Love you, Michael.